Hey, welcome to the Nighttime Show. It is I, Stephen Kramer Glickman, as always, right by my side, the man, the myth, the legend, Matthew Walker. How are you, buddy?
Hello. This is the first time you've called me Matthew Walker.
Oh, yeah. The good, the bad, and the Matthew, which is mostly bad.
Mostly bad. The good, the bad, and the worst.
And the mean, somehow.
The mean. Yeah.
So, Matt, you and I were in Orlando, Florida, hanging out. We went to Megacon.
Megacon. Sunday.
Megacon. Megacon, which, by the way, I found out is Florida's best con. That's what everyone's been saying. It is one of the best cons. And we went, and it was something else.
I thought Jimmy Sticky Fingers was the best con in Florida. He took me for $2,000 last time I was there.
I think
very successful con.
Yeah, he's a hell of a con. I think you know who I think is the best con in Florida is the guy who booked us to go to Florida. Okay, so anyways, we're walking around the floor, we're hanging out, we're having a nice time, and we look over, and who do we see but the one, the only, the legendary comic book artist, Neal Adams. This guy is an absolute legend.
His booth was enormous and packed with artwork that he's done, and people were coming up and buying it, and it was... I mean, he's beloved.
He is beloved, and for those of you who are fans, you guys already know his stuff. But I'll give you a quick recap. Batman. Mm-hmm. He's responsible for basically making Batman not like the bang pow Batman and turning him into the badass Batman that we all know and love and have seen.
So he took it from the Batman that I liked and made it the Batman that I don't like.
Exactly. He did Superman for a very long time, as well as Green Lantern. He's also responsible for bringing the X-Men together because up to that point it was very hard for people to draw the X-Men. They were kind of dying off, and he saved them, as well as he kind of did the same thing with Superman at one point or another, and did the same thing with Batman a few different times throughout history. He's a great guy, and we were so lucky to get to sit down with him.
And if it sounds during the interview like we keep cutting, it's because people kept coming up and buying stuff and getting it autographed, said he would want to spend some time talking to them. So we kept cutting in the interview. So there will be some cuts that you might notice in the editing of this episode. But that's just how it is.
Yeah, but he's, a 78-year-old brilliant man who really, honestly, did not give a fuck what he said.
Very opinionated, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, so enjoy the show. Live from Megacon, it's the Nighttime Show. As always, on the show, we have our red-headed bastard child, Matt Walker. I'm the host of the Nighttime Show, Stephen Kramer Glickman, and today, one of the most incredible comic book artists in the history of mankind, responsible for Batman, Superman versus Muhammad Ali, X-Men, and making all of our favorite characters look incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, Neal Adams is here.
And Kevin Smith, I'm so glad to see you here in your marijuana-laced room. My goodness,
I really am. How are you, man?
How am I, man? I'm fine. I'm just fine. I'm here and meeting a lot of people and having I'm doing sketches and they're giving me money and I'm sitting in a chair.
I love it. And right now you're working on a. We
don't call it work. Yes. It's not exactly work.
Yes.
I sit in a chair and people give me money. If that's work, I think we need a better definition of work.
Yeah, seriously.
Drawing. People give me money to draw pictures. What's wrong with that? I keep thinking some cop is going to come up and go, all right, come on, Neal, we're going to chop trees. Let's go. Enough of this bull.
Yeah. Totally. But you're a phenomenon. I'm looking at what you're working on right now. Sorry, not what you're working on, what you are drawing right now.
Thank you.
There's it's a couple drawings of Venom. Did you work on Venom in the early stages?
I don't even know what the character looks like.
I love
I'm just copying somebody else.
Genius. So great. So do people request artwork from you from stuff that you haven't worked on as well?
Let's put the cart before the horse. They give me money to draw. I'd like to see how you draw Venom. Let me see. Big teeth, big eyes, and big angry guy. Yeah, I think I can do that.
So you pretty much you're able to basically draw any of the comics that we've seen. You could probably just whip them out.
Yeah, of course. I mean, wouldn't really.
Come on.
It's comic books. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Could you like forge fine art? Like if somebody said, "Make me the Mona Lisa," do you think you could do that to the point where I could sell it for a lot of money?
You're talking about that Leonardo da Vinci crap? It sucked.
It's garbage.
It's garbage. Pardon me.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Nobody gave him money sitting in a chair to draw stuff.
Let's be honest. You look at that Mona Lisa, and they say, and the smile on Mona Lisa, you go, there's no
I don't get the smile.
Smile?
She's smirking.
Smile?
She's not smiling.
It's a smirk.
Where the hell do you get that?
Yeah.
She's got, I don't know, a loose tooth or something. She's not smiling. What? I don't understand. What is the deal with? I can look upside down. The thing is not smiling.
No.
And it's dull and it's boring. And she looks like she's going to a funeral.
Yeah.
And the background, you can't make out the background. It's like, I don't know, countryside? Is that a countryside?
Yeah.
What was that?
What did he use? Spit and dirt to make that thing? And you telling me that's great art? I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'll take Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
No, it's crap.
100%.
Look at. Let's be honest. You go to a museum and you look at the stuff, and people say, "Oh, this is great art." And you go into the museum and you look around and you look at the big paintings and you look at the Roman columns and stuff, and you go, inside your head, you go, "This is as dull as shit. This is like, I can't believe this is so awful and so dull." And then you go, "Well, that's brilliant. That's really wonderful. Oh my God, look at that. That's wonderful." And you're such a liar. You just lie to yourself. You lie to the people around you. It's so boring. In those old paintings, they're so boring. And I'm going to tell you why they're boring. Because the people that they painted, they didn't have cameras to like take pictures of them. So they stood there for like 4 to 6 hours in these really dull positions. Well, how can you stand in an interesting position for 4 hours?
That's not life.
You get
either.
a cramp.
Yeah.
You get a cramp. Look, I love Michelangelo, great sculptor. Okay, David, one knee bent, one knee not bent, holding a spear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dull. Moses, old man sitting in a chair. No offense, but really, it's an old man sitting in a chair. The Pietà, dead body, guy lying on a couch, sad woman above him. Really, no, not interesting. I'm just saying, back in those days, working for models like that, you really had some dull crap.
Yeah, that's very true.
Look what we have today. We're at a comic book convention. You can look anywhere and see interesting stuff because you can take a camera and take pictures.
Yeah.
You can copy or trace the pictures, and you get interesting pictures.
Absolutely.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Look at see that Batman over there?
Yes.
No offense, but that's interesting. Batman's leaping on something. It's like it's an interesting thing. Oh, that old art, nothing. It's nothing. It's boring.
So what about like Botticelli, something like that, a little more interesting, where there's like
Botticelli.
Yeah, Botticelli. Botticelli's better. Better.
Okay.
And so you get as you move forward in time, you get guys that are doing sort of impressionistic sculptures that have some like an attempt at meaning, but still it's just big clunky stuff.
Yeah.
It's an attempt, but if you don't use, look at as you move into. All right. Let's go. Let's go in a little different. You're watching the internet or wherever you're watching. You watch these old black and white movies. Boring. Why are they boring? Because the camera has to stay in one place. Okay. Hi guys. Camera has to stay in one place because they got this microphone above them, right? Yeah. Now, nowadays we have directional mics. We have all this incredibly great stuff. And then we go and re-record the stuff anyway. Yeah. So we don't care. They can be running across the field or whatever. And it's fantastic. You can do anything, go anywhere. In those things, in those old movies, they're standing in a room like a theater. It's a theater. Yeah. It's all based on stage sets, right? So it's people, 4 or 5 people in a room, and if somebody leaves the room, he's off camera. He's gone.
Yeah.
You can't follow him. You can't track him. Yeah. How many cuts do you see in movies where you see the story being told by the camera magically jumps all over the place? But
Right.
in those days, you're watching a scene that lasts for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Awful stuff.
Yeah.
Well, as technology improves, things get better. We're going to cut here.
Hey, Matt, before we continue the show, let me ask you a quick question, Matt. When you're getting down with the ladies, you lubing it up? You lubing it up, Matt?
You have to.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get your lubes on. But I'll tell you what, the biggest problem, I think, for most people is that, lube, it goes everywhere, especially when it's dark, it's in the middle of the night.
Gets all over.
It gets all over the place, and that's no fun for nobody, which is why I always say you should use Lube Light. That's right. Lube Light lets you pop its cap for an instant illumination. Wow. That's incredible.
So you just open it up and then you've got a light?
You got a light built in. Any lube will work in this bottle. It is you grip it, flip it, squeeze it, fill it up, and I'm telling you right now, bam, you got a Lube Light. You pop its cap for instant illumination, and then lube gets applied wherever you want it applied, not where it wants to go. That's right. You're in charge of the lube now. Also, you can keep the light on while you're getting down to clown. And that ambient light, it's very nice. It's never blinding, and especially while you're grinding. So, don't take it from me, Matt. Don't take this advice from me. Take it from a satisfied customer.
Lube Light has changed everything in the bedroom for me. I used to always just be worried about making a mess. Half the time I couldn't even find it. But with Lube Light, I'm always guaranteed a hole-in-one.
That's why you should try lubelights.com. Lubelights.com. We're talking about lube, folks. Lubelights.com.
Also available on Amazon.com. Search for Flip Lube Light.
All right, let's get back to the show.
So art is in as time goes by and as technology gets better, the art of film gets better. Mm-hmm. The art of stage plays gets better. If you go to the theater, back in the old days, people they'd go be on the stage, and unless you had a voice that could project to the back of the auditorium,
sure,
you couldn't be on stage. Well, that's not true anymore. They have directional mics, mm-hmm. So you can go, "Hi, how are you?" and you can hear it in the back of the theater.
Oh yeah.
So all of these things make things easier to do, make the quality of what you do better. Okay, and when you make the quality of this stuff better, because you have better tools, it gets better. And the old stuff doesn't compare with it. It's boring. It's because we had shitty old tools, we did boring work.
Yeah.
But we don't do boring work now. Suddenly in the 20th century, we got Norman Rockwell. Suddenly Norman Rockwell takes out a camera and takes pictures of cute little girls with the tooth missing in the front of the face, or an umpire yelling at a ball player or whatever the hell it is. And it's interesting because he took that picture. Now that umpire couldn't be in that yelling position for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't do it, but with a photograph he can do it. And then Norman Rockwell says, well, that's my painting. That's not his painting. It's a photograph turned into a painting.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But he adds his own little finessing to it, and it becomes even better. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's what makes good illustration. That's what makes good movies. That's what makes good TV.
Is that what you worked off of? Would you work off of photographs?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who would do the poses for you? Where would
whoever,
you find the photos?
I would.
Yeah?
Sure.
That's awesome.
I did a strip called Ben Casey, based on the old Ben Casey TV series.
Of course.
Okay,
Ben
I
Casey,
was
yeah.
Ben Casey.
Oh my God! Really?
Yes, my wife was all the women, and I was all the guys.
Love it.
But that comes under knowing how to draw. How do you turn this face into that face? Well, I have photographs of this face, so as I'm tracing this face, I put in this face. So you do have to have skill. It's not like you can just trace photographs.
Yeah.
Some guys just trace photographs. It looks like trace photographs.
Yeah.
That's not the idea.
How did you?
Marilyn. Go ahead. We're cool.
Working for DC Comics in the early days, what was DC like to work with?
Bunch of old farts. Pretty much.
You were the young guy in the office there when you went in, or?
Well, it's not that. There were just a bunch of old farts. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were guys who clung on after the Comics Code Authority started up.
Yeah.
And they were like 10 years older. They didn't even know how to hire people. I I used to hide out. I had a room up at DC. They gave me a room, and I put an autograph in it so I could project photographs onto the paper or layouts onto the paper. And when young guys would come, like Bernie Wrightson and people like that, they would go in to see an editor, and they didn't know which editor to see. They'd usually see the wrong editor. So I made friends with the receptionist, right? And I talked to the receptionist, and I'd say, look, anybody comes here with a portfolio and goes in to see Julie Schwartz or Murray Boltinoff or whoever, when they come out, send them in to me or call me out. So I get them, and I'd hide them out in my room. So they would hide out between my room and the coffee room at DC Comics that was over in distribution, right? So they had a really nice coffee room with Formica tabletops and stuff. We could draw on the tabletops.
Oh, cool.
And they had coffee machines and crap. And so I would hide these guys out, and then I would go and talk to the editors like Joe Orlando. I'd say, Joe, you're trying to do mystery stories. How about I got a guy that does really good like EC mystery stories. He said, oh yeah, really? Yeah, his name is Bernie Wrightson. Would you like to look at the stuff? Oh yeah, cool. I'll bring him in. So I'd take him down the hall and I'd sneak him in.
Amazing.
And so suddenly this is cool. Now, because they didn't know, look, they hadn't hired anybody for 10 years, from 1953 to 1963. So I snuck these guys in. Alan Weiss, Howard Chaykin, different guys.
Oh, my God.
And because they didn't know how to hire anybody. They hadn't hired anybody in 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Like we
it's like a bad habit.
We had talked to the guys from Don Ward Studios who did like Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
And at that time, they didn't have any idea of how to hire new people.
Right.
So if an artist walked in with a portfolio and it was good enough and there was an open desk, they would just go, now you work here.
Yeah.
And the guy would just start
Which is
working.
a good way to do it, but they didn't have open desks at DC Comics. There were no desks.
Right.
There was a production room, and the editor had an office, and they would talk to writers. And they would, send scripts to artists, and they would drop off the pages and go home.
So the artist generally worked out of the office then at that time?
Yeah, never worked in the office.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they might do a cover in the production room just because it was convenient and they needed to get the thing done, but otherwise, no.
So did you mostly work from home, or you had an office?
Well, I didn't have an office. They just needed things fast, like covers. So they had a little small room, and I bought an autograph and put it in the room. And then we would have the light out most of the time, so nobody knew what the hell was going on.
Wow!
So, what's going on in Neal's room? I don't know. But I think there's some other guys in there. Oh, they can draw. Oh shit! Bring them over here. They had no idea. They really had no idea. I fed them people. And they'd be, we have enough work for the people we have. You have backup stories, guys. Come on.
Did you
backup stories? No, we don't. Yes, you do. You have backup stories. Oh, okay. All right. What do you got?
Did you spend time with Bob Kane?
No, he's an asshole. He was an asshole.
Yeah, he was an asshole.
Oh, Bob Kane. Wow. Bob, I didn't think. You think somebody's creative is going to be a good guy.
Sure.
So, most guys are. Most guys I know are good guys. So I meet Bob Kane, and all he could talk about was Bob Kane. He couldn't talk about, the weather, how it related to Bob Kane.
Yeah.
And he kept on telling me, we're cool, you're cool. Take just a minute, and I'll be right with you. Come on, have a seat, whatever. Just give me 1 minute, okay? So, because I'm telling a Bob Kane story.
It's a good story.
Anyway, it's actually a good story. So, I'm saying, well, I do Batman too. He says, yeah, but you have to look at my stuff. You have to understand. You have to understand the essence of the character. Well, okay, right. No, you're right. Absolutely, I have to understand. Yeah, no, and you created it. That's right. And that's something you can't forget, that I created Batman. I know more about it than anybody. And so you have to study the stuff. You have to study the work. You have to study. Okay, I've looked at, yes, no, absolutely. I look at the stuff, totally. Says, yes, when you have to understand that, if you follow the work, then you'll get it. It'll be so much. I mean, I'm sorry, you don't do it exactly right.
Ooh.
Bob, I'm trying every time I can. Anyway, I finish the conversation. I walk over to a bunch of guys, and I say, hey, I just met Bob Kane. They go, asshole, wasn't he? I go, yes, he was a... Jesus, what a jerk. What an idiot.
Matt, you and me are both stand-up comedians, and I know we both say a lot of things that are very offensive on a regular basis. Do you ever have trouble sleeping at night?
Yeah, not because of things I say, though. It's just because I have lousy pillows.
Oh, okay. So you don't have like a horrible feeling of guilt sometimes for the awful things. Oh, that's nice.
Never. I'm proud of the horrible things that I say to people.
That's good. That's a good way to be. Sometimes I do have trouble sleeping, or I did have trouble sleeping until I got this brand new pillow.
What kind of pillow?
I mean, this is next level stuff, Matt. This is a pillow. You've never seen a pillow like this because until recently it did not exist. It's called the buttress pillow. And it is shaped like a butt, and it has little legs, and you're not going to believe this. You got to go check it out. Thebuttresspillow.com.
So it's like your face rests on a butt.
Your face is pressed into a butt crack while the legs support your neck and shoulders, basically. It
sounds comfortable.
It is very comfortable. It's ergonomic. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Ergonomic, functional, all natural, and it's absolutely beautiful. Check this out. This is from their website. Soft but supportive with the feeling of a butt. All right, and the sweet spot is between the thighs and the cheeks, which will gently cradle your head and support your neck. Great for side sleepers, back sleepers, and stomach sleepers. It's squeezable, slappable, face variable, relieves stress, from having a long, horrible day. What do you want to do at the end of a long day?
Put your head in a butt.
That is 100% right.
Well,
you can dress it up, you can dress it down. You want to throw some PJs on it?
You convinced me, so where do I go get one of these?
You go to thebuttresspillow.com, thebuttresspillow.com. That's THEBUTTRESS pillow.com. Go to thebuttresspillow.com, Matt, and get your sleep on. You'll have much better dreams. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, so here's another one for you. I'm a massive X-Men fan, physically and emotionally. A big
You
fan.
scared the crap out of me. Go ahead.
And you worked on X-Men.
I did?
Yeah. What? People keep coming up while we're...
Saved the X-Men, I think call it saved.
Yeah, you really did.
They were giving it to anybody.
Well,
fucking idiots like Jim Steranko.
Really?
Barry Smith. It's like you go, what did Jim Steranko first do for Marvel Comics? He did X-Men. He did? He did? What did Barry Smith first do for Marvel Comics? X-Men? Yeah, he did. He did? Really?
So
yeah, he did.
What was happening? Were they just
guys would come in and they'd hand them a story.
They would do one, and then they go, "This is not working," or they do a couple, and they go,
"Well, it was a tryout thing, So they were giving it to whoever walked in because they knew they were going to cancel it.
Wow,
that was why.
So they just didn't really care about it because they're like, "This is just
just
whatever.
give it to whoever walks in."
So then you come in,
right,
and you changed the tone. You
made it real.
You made it real. You brought in.
Well, the thing is that you have to remember that people up to that point, and this is like you don't really quite realize it, but up to that point, people didn't know how to do team books.
Sure.
They had the standard model of DC Comics where you'd have 6 superheroes, and so you'd have the Danger. And 2 superheroes would go here, and 2 superheroes go here, and 2 superheroes would go here, and then they come back at the end and they kill the big starfish.
Right.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell that thing was.
Right. Sure. Of course.
And that would be the end of the book.
Yeah.
So that was the standard for doing team books. Okay.
Right.
Well, no team ever worked that way. If you had a team of a platoon of guys or a team of SEALs,
you stick together.
They would all integrate. What they did.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not the right way. Now when John Buscema did the Avengers, he started to do for Marvel a little bit more team-like book because John, he didn't understand what the hell was, this insane Justice League thing over at DC. So he tried to do it, but I understood the idea, and I knew it was harder to do. You had to draw more figures in a panel. But that was all right. They had already, Stan had already done it with Stan and Jack had done it with Fantastic Four for 4 characters. That worked pretty good. So how do you do it with like 6 characters? Well, a little harder, but you just kind of weave them in and out. So in the series that I did, I weave them in and out. So when people read it, it was like, what the hell, what's going on? They're all in the story at the same time.
Did you need...
That's new.
Yeah.
But they never realized that it was new because there was no basic... Nobody was on the street corner ringing a bell saying, we've never been able to do this before, and we need somebody to show us how.
Now, did you need physically larger panels to draw more people in it?
There's
or
no
how did you
way
do
to get physically larger
like
panels.
Like wider, or you're just sort of
you're
stuck with the size?
But you have to... Well, I had started something at DC Comics that I brought over to Marvel, and that was, instead of laying out 6-panel pages, you lay out the page. So the whole page becomes a composition.
Yeah.
Right.
And the way that happened in a weird way is they used to have pages were twice up. All the old pages are twice size. Then they reduced them to 50% bigger. Well, at twice size, it's your eye, the amount of space that you see with your eye, you can't envision a whole page.
Yeah.
Unless you step back. It's like painters stepping back and sticking their thumb up and going like this. So you're more likely to do panel. But once the page got smaller, you could encompass it with your eye, and then you could make a composition of the page. So I came in at the time when they were doing that. I had already done a syndicated strip, and I had solved all kinds of other problems, and here was another problem. Here's a page. Let's design the page, or let's design a double-page spread.
Yeah.
That's what I did in Dead Man. And that's the comic books that the Marvel staff were reading of DC. They were only reading Dead Man. That's why Stan wanted me to do something for them.
Yeah.
He said the only comic book we read over here at Marvel is Dead Man.
Right.
Because layout, for whatever reasons. Okay?
Yeah, more dynamic, though.
So the idea was to create a storytelling with the pages rather than 6 panels on a page.
From its humble beginnings in Minnesota to a worldwide brand that has taken the vape industry by storm, Jungle Nation presents The Glory Days.
Whoa! What was that?
I'm sorry?
No! This is The Glory Days. This needs to be exciting. The Glory Days. This is not your grandparents' e-liquid company. We take the flavors you love and flip them on their flavor faces. Kiwi, lemon, lime, melon, blackberry. Are you freaking kidding me? Sound the alarm. It's a new flavor alert. Peach, orange, mango. Game over. These are some of the most well-rounded, clean e-liquid flavors on the market. Following strict FDA guidelines and recommendations, Jungle Nations is taking the best of 42 fully registered flavors and bringing them to a local vape shop near you.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Must be legal age to purchase or use.
Let these days be the glory days of tomorrow. Go to junglenation.com. That's JNGLNation.com.
So, question for you, and I've always wanted to know this. So, Kirby created a lot of artwork for a lot of incredible characters.
Yeah.
You know, but what would happen if you were working on an X-Men or a comic book, and that character hasn't been invented yet? They haven't created what that guy looks like. What would that conversation be like? Would they say to you, all right, this is something like, was there an idea? Would they show you something? For characters that had already been done? Or like Magneto, would they just say,
the assumption
Magneto's already been done?
First, there is no they.
Sure. Okay.
There's no they. So they don't exist. All there was at Marvel was Stan Lee. And Stan didn't give a shit. Above him was no they. They didn't even look at the comic books. They had no idea what the hell we were doing. So if we invented a new character, created a new character, they didn't notice. They had no sense of obligation to the creator if he created a new character, that maybe we owed him some money, later on if we used it again. They had no sense of it because they didn't even have a contract. There was no contract.
Wow.
You can go to the shittiest corporation in the world and get a contract.
Yeah.
DC and Marvel didn't have contracts.
Holy shit.
How did they
didn't
function
have
as
purchase
companies,
orders.
it seems? Yeah.
They didn't live in the 20th century. They had nothing.
Stanley.
Stanley. Stanley. You mean Stanley? Stanley Lieber.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Stanley Lieber.
Stanley Lieber.
A nice Jewish boy.
A nice Jewish kid. What a
He's
great
actually,
kid.
I can tell you a secret about Stanley. Stanley was my son. I know you don't know that. I know.
Wow.
I know. He was, unfortunately, he was the untalented boy in the family. It was Larry who was the talent because he could draw.
Sure.
Stanley couldn't draw. And he would bring me this portfolio. Terrible work. It was terrible. It was just so sad, and I would almost cry because Stanley he wanted to draw, and Larry was the star of the family. Larry could draw, and Stanley couldn't. And Stan just got so upset one day he left home, and he said, "Dad, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go and make a name for myself." I said, "Make a name for yourself, Stanley, Booby." we called him Booby around the house. Booby, Stanley is your name, Stanley. He said, "Dad, I'm going to make a name for myself no matter what. As an artist, I think so." "I don't think so, Stanley." And sure enough, he made a name for himself as a writer. Mm-hmm. And he changed his name to Stan Lee. And he came home and said, "Dad, I am now famous." I gave him a hug, a pat on the head, and I said, "Booby, I love you." And he went on to become Stan Lee.
Wow. Amazing.
And that's a true story.
That's a true story. 100% true.
100% true. You can ask Larry anytime. Stanley approved of that story. I just want you to know.
I love that story. That is a wonderful story.
Thank you.
What is your Matt? I know you had a question.
You forgot your question.
Yeah.
No. I wanted to know what
So
it was
you-
like to work with him. For you. What
Just like that. It's a good boy.
Now, you've
He's a good
drawn
kid.
all kinds of great characters for both Marvel and DC and other projects you've been involved with. Who's your favorite thing to draw? Like, what's your favorite to draw?
You guys don't know that these are just muscle guys with lines on their bodies, do you? Just muscle guys with lines on their bodies. They're all the same guy.
They're all the same guy.
They're all the same guy. It's like
Right.
the women, the same guy. It's like Betty and Veronica. Put different hair and it's Betty, and different hair it's Veronica. Don't you know that? They're just muscle guys.
Man, what's the matter with
Bunch
you?
of- What are you, some
They're
kind
all
of?
muscle guys, Matt.
They're muscle guys. They get different hair. Really? I'd rather draw a gorilla.
What's the one that comes that because
You missed the gorilla one.
No,
Everybody, if you ask any artist what they like to draw, they say a gorilla. Or if you give them the option, would you rather a muscle guy or a gorilla? Gorilla.
gorilla.
Absolutely.
because it's different proportions and stuff too,
Huh?
right? You have different proportions. You're drawing a gorilla. It's not
Got
just the same
everything
thing.
is
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
It's all better. Better muscles, better everything.
Hair,
Faces,
teeth.
Faces are fantastic. Gorilla faces.
Oh, yeah.
Human faces are boring. Really.
Yeah.
What's
And they all look the same.
since we've been sitting here, you've had a bunch of people come up with Havoc comic books.
Yeah?
Is that
what that was?
That was that one that just
I
came
thought that
up.
was a microwave. Shit. With Havoc? You see that cover? That was great.
Yeah.
How do you draw a new superhero and still draw all those other crappy superheroes around them? Put a hole in them and draw them through it.
Amazing.
Amazing,
Genius.
right? Genius.
Genius.
I say genius.
You're such a brilliant guy.
Fucking
it's,
A.
It's so.
I'm sorry.
No, it really is. It's a huge honor to get to sit and
It's
chat
a
with
pleasure.
you. And,
It's a pleasure to be here.
We will hope to see you. We'll be here the next couple of days. So
And
we'll
I
come
will
by
bid
and
you a
come see you.
fondue.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. An
Where
honor
can,
and a pleasure. Is there a way that fans that are listening, if they want to, find you? Do you have a
When
website?
will this be broadcast?
Within the next week.
Yeah. Look up in the next
you're
few
not going
weeks.
to broadcast before the end of this convention, so you're wasting that.
Really?
I'll be at our store on Memorial Day, a day after Memorial Day,
Where's
the
that?
store?
in Burbank.
Okay.
What?
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
we got a store. I got a store now.
Okay. We're in LA, so
We're in Burbank
yeah.
all the time.
Come on over to the store.
Yeah.
Are you
We're
ever
in
at,
Magnolia Boulevard.
Are you near
between
Blast?
Pass and Cahuenga.
Are you by Blaster
Pass
in the
and
Pass?
Cahuenga?
What's the name of the store?
It's Krusty Bunkers.
Oh my God!
Aha,
I know exactly
Krusty
where
Bunkers.
that is.
Krusty Bunkers.
All right, we're gonna come. We're gonna come see you.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
thanks again. Thanks
Pleasure.
again for chatting.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
great.
Anytime.
Thank you very much,
bet.
Neal.
Wow, really? Just oh my
What a crazy old guy, right?
when he started talking shit about Bob Kane, I
Yeah.
was like, I was looking over my shoulder, like,
Like, is
someone's gonna.
Bob Kane's ghost gonna
Yeah,
come get
we're
you?
gonna get in trouble somehow for him saying all this shit. But he was so great and so genuine, and what an awesome
Yes.
time.
Thank you, Neal.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Neal. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast and share it. There's lots of fun episodes coming up, so keep on listening, keep on checking it out. Matt, where can people find you?
You can find links to everything at funnymatt.com, or if you're annoyed, you can let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
And you can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and
tell your
share,
friends.
share. Tell your friends. Thanks for listening, guys.
Stand up in front of a fireball. Stephen Glickman about to rock us all. Nighttime show is why we all are here. Sit back, shut up, grab yourself a beer. Robbie is so funny, Matt Walker is the best. Blacks does the intro, then they're on the gas. Nighttime show, the fucking nighttime show. Nighttime show, the nighttime show, nighttime
So Mickey says to the judge, Mickey says to the judge, I didn't say she's insane, Judge. I said she was fucking goofy.
All right, well, I'm rolling now, Steven, so whenever
Oh,
you're
see,
ready.
now you weren't rolling before. You missed that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Fucking goofy. You know, I used to love to go to Disneyland, and they I don't know, they changed it a little bit, but Mickey couldn't talk, right?
Yep.
And so kids would go up to him and they'd want him to talk, and there's Mickey, right? And they're not saying anything. It's like Mum Mickey, right? So I'd sidle up beside Mickey and I'd say, "Hi, kids." And the kids would go, oh, they'd stop and go,
He's actually
"He can
talking.
talk."
Yeah.
And then Mickey, the guy who's in the Mickey costume, because doesn't quite get it, and I go, "Well, how are you, kids? Come on, let's play together."
You do
And
a
they-
really good
and-
Mickey Mouse.
You really do.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck you. Of course I do.
Yeah.
My
We had-
generation, we did voices.
We had,
So the kids would get all like worked up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the Mickey guy he'd have to play along, because what's he going to do? Deny his own
Yeah.
voice, right?
Right, sure,
So
yeah.
then he had to play.
Then you hear some other voice like, "No, kid, that wasn't me.
That wasn't-
that wasn't me,
You
kid."
can't say
That
it. You
voice,
can say
yeah.
it. Hi, let's play. Come on. Here, come on over here. Ha. You hop over here. Ha.
Oh my God! All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, is Mike close enough? You good?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's good.
All right, here we go.
I've done this before.
Yeah.
Have you really? Oh, yes, you have.